The night that Nkeruka's life changed began quietly, almost innocently. The moon hung low over Umu-Eke village, casting silver streaks through the small window of the clay house where Nkeruka slept. Her dreams were filled with laughter, memories of her mother singing lullabies, of running barefoot through the dusty paths with friends, of days when life felt endless and safe. But safety, as the villagers often whispered, is a fragile thing. Obianuju, her stepmother, had been pacing the floor all night. Her lips twisted into a bitter smile. "Everyone loves her," she muttered under her breath. "Even the spirits admire her. Even the wind bends to her hair. But no one will notice me, not while she shines." Her eyes flicked toward Nkeruka, peacefully sleeping, unaware of the storm approaching. Slowly, almost reverently, Obianuju picked up a pair of old scissors from the drawer. The metal glinted in the moonlight like a serpent ready to strike. She paused, as if listening for some warning, but the house was silent. When Nkeruka awoke the next morning, a suffocating stench filled the room. She smelled the sharp tang of hair burned and cut. Panic rose in her chest as she noticed the bare strands scattered across the floor. Her hands flew to her head and froze. Her hair, the pride of her late mother's legacy, had been stolen. Why, she whispered, tears blurring her vision. "Beauty is dangerous," Obianuju replied smoothly, as if cutting off a child's hair was the most natural thing in the world. "It draws eyes, and the eyes of others breed jealousy. You will thank me one day, or at least obey." Nkeruka shook her head, but the tears kept falling. She felt naked, exposed, not just in body, but in spirit. For days, she avoided the villagers, hiding under her mother's old shawl, afraid of their pitying looks. She noticed how their eyes lingered on her once shining hair, now reduced to a dull, short mess. Some whispered, "She has lost her glow." And Obianuju? She smirked with each glance, convinced she had succeeded. But in the silence of her grief, Nkeruka discovered something unexpected. One afternoon, she wandered to the forest behind the village. She had often played there with her mother, and memories clung to the trees like moss. As she approached the river, she caught her reflection in the water. But it wasn't her reflection she saw. It was the Nkeruka of old, radiant, fearless, proud. The reflection's hair shimmered like midnight silk, the eyes sparkled, and the lips curved into a mischievous smile that seemed to say, "You are stronger than she believes." The river's surface shimmered as a soft voice carried over the water, almost like the wind itself had found a mouth. "Do not let her darkness define you. Your heart is stronger than her envy. You are the river, and the river always finds the sea." Nkeruka trembled. Could this be magic? Or the memory of her mother speaking through the wind? Either way, the words sank into her chest like fire and ice together. From that moment, Nkeruka made a decision. She would not let Obianuju's cruelty destroy her spirit. She began helping the villagers quietly, mending clothes, carrying water for the elderly, tutoring younger children in reading and counting. And with each act of kindness, the villagers' murmurs shifted. Some noticed the way her eyes still sparkled, even beneath the short, uneven hair. Some began to speak to her with smiles, despite Obianuju's warnings. But Obianuju could not see goodness without twisting it. She began to plot again. "If she cannot be broken by shame," she hissed to herself, "then I will crush her with labor. She will never rise above me." She gave Nkeruka the heaviest chores, fetching water from the farthest river, grinding grains under the scorching sun, washing the village pots until her hands cracked and bled. She forbade her from speaking during festivals, insisting that she sit in the shadows, invisible. Yet, with each challenge, Nkeruka's heart grew stronger. Her laughter, rare and soft, began returning, though carefully hidden. And the villagers, sensing something extraordinary, began murmuring in awe. "She is like a plant that bends but does not break. She has her mother's spirit." Then came the festival, the day that would change everything. Families gathered to display their skills, dance, and sing. Obianuju, smug and confident, dressed Nkeruka in ragged clothes, whispering venomously. Today, everyone will see how ugly you are. They will laugh, and I will be satisfied. When Keruka stepped onto the stage, she was trembling, but inside, a fire had been lit. She closed her eyes and sang. At first, it was soft, a fragile thread of sound, but it grew, each note carrying the pain of stolen childhood, the weight of injustice, the strength of a heart that refused to bow. The villagers stopped in their tracks. Even the elders, who had seen many festivals, were captivated. Her voice told a story of cruelty, resilience, and hope. It resonated with the unspoken struggles of everyone in the audience. Obianuju's face paled. The child she thought she had destroyed had become the jewel of the village. As the song ended, the crowd erupted, not in mockery, but in awe and admiration. They praised Nkeruka's courage, her talent, and her indomitable spirit. That night, something strange happened. Nkeruka awoke to a warm glow in her room. Her hair had begun to grow back, soft, long, and gleaming. The villagers whispered that the spirits had blessed her, rewarding her patience and strength. Obianuju, on the other hand, could not escape justice. The elders confronted her, reminding her of the ancient laws. Cruelty toward one's own blood was a sin that invited the wrath of both spirits and men. Fear consumed her. As she tried to flee, the wind seemed to twist around her, and branches snagged her clothing. She fell, and her shame was laid bare before the entire village. From that day forward, Nkeruka's story became legend in Umu-Eke. Never underestimate the heart of the innocent. For even when the world cuts you down, the spirit of the pure will rise, brighter than the sun. And Nkeruka. She grew into a young woman of incomparable beauty, not just in appearance, but in spirit. She became a healer, a teacher, and a voice for the oppressed. Her hair, once stolen, now flowed like a river of night, reminding all who saw it that no darkness, however cruel, could ever steal the light within her. The villagers would tell her story for generations, of cruelty, resilience, and the mysterious magic that comes to those who refuse to surrender to evil.